Thank you. On today's broadcast, Schwab announces its Schwab Intelligent Advisory services, Finicity raises $42 million for account aggregation, Envestnet Tamarac rolls out Yodlee, and more. So get ready, FPPad Bits and Bytes begins now. Hey everyone, I'm Bill Winneberg, and thank you for joining me for this week's Advisor Technology News broadcast. Today's episode is brought to you by eMoney Advisor, featuring a new client onboarding process as a part of their leading client experience. Onboarding replaces printed fact-finding documents with an automated digital workflow, allowing clients to populate their own personal financial information online from anywhere, adding an extra layer of convenience and efficiency to your service. For more information on eMoney's client onboarding tool, visit fppad.com/emoneyonboarding today. Now, the big story this week is news from Charles Schwab, as the largest custodian for RIAs announced plans to introduce Schwab Intelligent Advisory in the first half of 2017. In the press release, Schwab's Nisha Hathi said that Schwab Intelligent Advisory is designed for emerging or mass affluent investors who don't have complex financial situations, features access to CFP professionals who are available by phone and video conference, and charges fees of just 28 basis points, disclaimer, with a maximum of $3,600 a year. Now, this isn't as much of a technology story as it is a marketing story, because the technology for Schwab Intelligent Advisory portfolio management is the same that powers Schwab Intelligent Portfolios for retail investors and institutional intelligent portfolios that you can use in your own RIA if you custody assets with Schwab. But how does that make you feel, knowing you're using the same technology that your custodian will use to offer its own human-assisted advisory services to mass affluent clients? So I was asked if I thought RIAs should be concerned about this announcement, and I said yes, RIAs should be absolutely concerned. Look, when it comes to getting a prospect to buy what you do, most of the time it's not what you say, it's what people hear. And I've got to admit, prospects are hearing comprehensive plans by CFP professionals with 24/7 access, all for 28 basis points. Disclaimer, unless your prospects hear something far more different and compelling from you, I just can't believe they'll be willing to pay more than 3 times the price of Schwab Intelligent Advisory for your services. And I'm not ignoring Vanguard's personal advisor services either, which also employs hundreds of CFP professionals and charges 30 basis points. Thank you. With more than $40 billion on the platform and growing. A few of you have told me that you've lost clients to Vanguard service, which is also likely going to happen with Schwab Intelligent Advisory. But the difference with Vanguard is that they're not also soliciting your custody business while simultaneously soliciting mass affluent clients. But the executives at Schwab surely know what they're doing, and I think they know their target RIA client pretty well, which I suspect largely enforces client account minimums of $1 million or more. So Schwab Intelligent Advisory really isn't a competitive threat because it's not intended for the high net worth clientele targeted by the largest RIAs that generally choose to custody with Schwab. So I apologize because I pivoted away from technology and talked about marketing and competition. But if you want to dive into the details of Schwab Intelligent Advisory announcements, the press release is linked among this week's top stories over at fppad.com/200. Now, one of the things not mentioned about Schwab Intelligent Advisory is account aggregation, which is the focus of my next 2 stories, starting with Finicity, as the company announced it secured $42 million in a new funding round led by Experian. This is the first time I've mentioned Finicity in my broadcast, but I have a popular post on FPPad from March of this year when Intuit announced it was shutting down their financial data API and selected Finicity to offer facade APIs to developers who needed to transition off of Intuit's aggregation. In the wake of that change, Guide Financial, which was acquired by John Hancock in the summer of 2015, shut down back in October. But other than that, I haven't heard of any significant disruptions among other tech providers. So what remains to be seen is whether or not Finicity makes an attempt to offer aggregation services to advisors, either directly or by partnering with existing technology providers. So if you have some intel that you can share with me, I'd appreciate the heads up. Otherwise, advisors can continue to engage aggregation providers such as Morningstar Bile Accounts, Accumulate, eMoney, Quovo, Wealth Access, and Envestnet Yodlee. And speaking of Envestnet Yodlee, my last story highlights the rollout of Envestnet Yodlee to the Envestnet Tamarac platform. While at the Schwab Impact Conference in October, I had a chance to connect with Brandon Remby to get a quick update on what this new feature means for advisors.
We're going to finally integrate the Yodlee solution into the Tamarac platform. Data aggregation is a huge thing in the industry right now. We really want to make sure that when an advisor is thinking about their client's portfolio, they're thinking about true wealth management, holistic wealth management, which means you have to bring in the client's assets, liabilities. With Yodlee, you can bring in things like credit card statements, mortgage balances, all of that real time, so the client can get true net worth reporting.
I've linked the full interview over here and in the description below, but let me just finish by saying that technology like account aggregation is still a bit of a differentiator for you, since it helps you know as much as you can about your client's total financial picture, and not just what clients have at one custodian, such as, oh, I don't know, Charles Schwab, which is a total coincidence. Anyway, you can get more information on this update, plus stories on Scottrade, Riskalyze, and Evernote that didn't make this week's broadcast by visiting fppad.com/200 for the links to this week's top stories. Remember, Bits and Bytes exists because of the support of our sponsors, so be sure to check out eMoney Advisor's new client onboarding workflow. Learn how onboarding enhances your client experience while helping you become more productive by visiting fppad.com/emoneyonboarding. Now, before I sign off, you need to know that I have some big plans in the works for FPPad content in 2017. I'm not going to go into the details right now, but what you'll notice is that this broadcast, the almost weekly videos, will be taking a bit of a hiatus for a few months. But don't worry, I'll still be providing my independent insight on financial technology that thousands of you count on as you navigate what I feel is an exciting, unprecedented opportunity in the business of financial advice. So connect with me anytime on Twitter. I'm @BillWinterberg, or sign up for my email newsletter at fppad.com/subscribe. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Bill Winterberg. See you sometime soon. Among this week's top stories over at fppad.com/200. For more information on the eMoney client onboarding, visit fppad.com/emoneyonboarding today. I'm rushing it.